Good morning. Today we continue with our Sunday reflection. And this morning, I want us to look at the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24, verse 13 to 35. A story about Cleopas and the other friend as they walk to Emmaus. And talking of walking, I know every day as I take a walk, I find a lot of people walking on the streets as a way of exercise. And after this devotion, I'm also going to take another walk on Sunday. And people walk to keep fit from one place to the other. But I'm talking about the people in this story who are walking from one place to another, not as a result of exercise, but because of what had taken place in Jerusalem. It contains a reaction of some of the disciples, and last week we reflected on Thomas and his reaction. Today we look at the other two disciples, Cleopas and the other named disciples, walking from Jerusalem to Emmaus. Talking of walking, like I say, during this lockdown, we all been walking and having conversation. And sometimes I meet people, two of them in deep conversation. Sometimes I meet people walking alone. And I do walk alone with my own conversations as I reflect on what is going on. And sometimes asking Christ where he is today. Jesus finds the two disciples going to Emmaus from Jerusalem. The distance was about 7 miles. From the tone of their conversation, you could tell their lives were shattered. Their dreams ended. It is the longest walk and the saddest day. Every step takes you away from the tombstone of a broken dream. They were disillusioned, the dejected pair on their 7-mile walk. It is over. They knew life would never be the same again. They watched their dreams, their hope for a new Israel with the famous prophet Jesus destroyed. And I know what it means to dream big and have plans, and from nowhere COVID-19 comes and shatters all the dreams you had about your future, your business, your family. These disciples, their faces carried the sadness of grief and loss. Eyes, downcast shoulders carried the weight of lost hope. I can hardly believe he is gone. What do we do now? And you could pick a tone of disappointment too. When Jesus joins in the conversation, they are surprised that he has not heard anything. I find the story remarkably interesting. It's about disappointment and restoration of shattered life. Two disciples are leaving Jerusalem. For them, Jerusalem became a place of pain, sorrow, and loss. It is a place of unmet expectation and disappointments. It's a place where their lives are shattered. As they walk, they are talking about all the things that have happened. And Jesus starts the conversation from their place of pain. They are surprised that this stranger does not know what has been going on in Jerusalem. They explain to him their disappointment and hope has been lost and how their dreams have been shattered. And you could tell a part of them had died with Jesus. I love the way that Jesus approaches the disciples. He hides his identity from them. They have no clue who he is. He doesn't want them to see who he is. Why is it that? I've heard some celebrities love it the way they sit by people they don't know on the airplane so that they can have a normal conversation with them and treat them like normal people. Jesus was able to have somewhat normal conversations with Cleopas and the other friend. When they got where they were going, they asked the man to stay and eat with them. And then when they were at the table, he broke bread and gave them, gave thanks, and began to pass it to them. The disciples' eyes were opened. They saw him for who he was. They resurrected Lord, because he had done it exactly the way he did it at Last Supper. They had been in the presence of the Lord the whole time. These disciples had been through a traumatic experience. They felt lost, alone, rejected, confused, and not at all peaceful. They were on the road that so many of us have been before. This period had been difficult for everyone, and sometimes we develop a sense of feeling that God is absent, and we feel lost, alone, rejected, confused. And we're going through this difficult patch together. I am positive that we've all been in this type of situation in our lives, and we're going through this situation today. When we cannot see our past problem, when it could have been hard for us to recognize that God is working with us, and when it is difficult to recognize that God is working with us now, along our journey, when you don't feel him, when you can't see past this pandemic and its effect on our lives, recognizing that Jesus is still there, that he is with you, and sometimes literally the only thing that is still holding up, it is normal to feel that way. It is human too. But that doesn't mean that he has not been there for you. He is there and still loves you. In the story, Jesus gave them bread. He was giving them back themselves. This was their restoration. And what a reaction. They rushed back to Jerusalem. So what is the story today? Jesus joins in our journey of life, shares our struggles, our pains, and frustrations. It is Jesus who never gives up, but continues to come and lights up our moments. It is Jesus who shares his life. It is Jesus who shares his life in our homes, in our lonely moments. Like he did to Cleopas and his friend, he shares who he is with us and reminds us that he finds us where we are, where we live. For those who miss church, the church is where people are. The church is you and me. That is why Christ comes to us. We are where the church was born, in a home. No matter how shattered, frightened, lonely our lives may be, it still loves us. No matter how far we walk away, it still finds us. No matter how lonely our walk is, he is there beside you, walking with you along the way, sharing our pain, our frustrations, our struggles every day. And I just want to tell you that from Springdale Methodist Church and Womborne Methodist Church, both our communities in pain and in Womborne, we continue to stand with you and to pray with you as we walk through this difficult moment. But we believe that God will see us through this journey. Keep the hope, keep the faith, because Christ Jesus is with us. May God bless you as we continue walking in this journey. Amen.